Dramatic retellings of real-world events and particular disasters aren't easy to pull off, but this one does it so well. Let's talk about Society of the Snow, or in its original title, Spanish, La Sociedad de la Nieve. Hi, my name's Drew and welcome to another review video on Flying Wiener. Now if you are a Spanish speaker, I'm sure that I definitely butchered the Spanish version, the original title of this film. If that did happen, I do apologise. Also, I was wondering, when you speak in Spanish, you know, when people pretend to speak Italian, they always do this with the hand. Is there an equal thing for Spanish, or is that a thing that's just unique to when we pretend to be Italian? That's actually something that came into my mind there. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Bit of levity when we're about to talk about something that is really serious. So this is a Netflix film, actually. That is how I accessed it. It's being distributed worldwide by Netflix. I saw, because just the day before I'm filming this, they put out the Oscar nominations. I haven't seen all of them, but I did see that among all the nominations, this film got one for the makeup, the special effects, etc., which I think is really cool. I mean, like I say, I haven't seen all of them. It would be worthy of one or two others as well, I think, in my opinion, but we can talk about that a bit later. This is a film from Uruguay, so it's not something we see every day, at least not in Europe, you know. It's not like they show too many Uruguayan films here, so I thought it was really cool. I heard a lot about this film, checked it out myself, because I am familiar with the disaster it is based on. So, I think we should get stuck into it. What are we talking about here? Like I say, I mean, this is very disturbing material. If you're easily disturbed by real world disasters and things that people go through, this film might also disturb you. I just want to give that a wee heads up. It is really quite dramatic, especially if you watch this film. It's not an easily digestible film because of that source material and what we get to see on screen as well. So this is centred on an event that happened in the 70s, 1972. You've got a small plane with 45 passengers, I believe it was, flying from Uruguay to Chile. It's mainly a rugby team, a Uruguayan rugby team. They're meant to play in Chile, and they have to fly through the Andes Mountains to get to Chile the easiest way possible. Problem is, with clouds and fogginess, there was low visibility and the plane crashed in those mountains. And these people had to survive in those snowy mountains, ice cold mountains, in the hopes of being rescued by the authorities. Now, as you can imagine, that itself would be bad enough. You know, I mean, a plane crashing, those temperature conditions and all that. But the problem was that they weren't actually found, and quickly, as you would hope in such situations. You know, you're thinking, oh, they're going to send out a search party immediately and we're going to be rescued. That wasn't the case here, and they actually spent over 2 months in those really horrible conditions. And the film depicts all of these events. Obviously, we've got time jumps happening, but yeah, basically we are stuck on a mountain with a half-broken plane and a group of 45 people trying to survive the incredibly cold and terrible conditions. Yeah, I mean, you know, just to round it off, I mean, this is not like the usual things that I talk about when I talk about films or TV shows where I try to avoid spoilers, etc. This is a real world event. Especially if I've gotten you worried by now. I can say that, I mean, unfortunately not everyone survived. 16 people did ultimately survive, so only a third of the people there. Yeah, and they survived by 2 of the group actually going off and trying to find someone, trying to reach civilization to call someone in to save the rest. So, you know, at least for these 16 people, it did ultimately end well. But the real troublesome thing many people find with this story is that due to, as you can imagine, like I say, snowy mountain, absolutely nothing there of nutritional value, you know, no plants, no wildlife, absolutely nothing. And as far as the eye can see, they have nothing there. So that's why it was also so dangerous, in case you're wondering, why didn't they just wander out, you know, just immediately, because they didn't know where to go. And all these things, also obviously the hope of being rescued. They ultimately had to resort to eating the flesh of the deceased co-passengers they had, and obviously that is quite an issue. It's one of the few instances of cannibalism in modern society, I'll call it, and obviously there's a huge moral debate around it. Was it okay to do it or not, and all these kind of things. I mean, just to tell you, my opinion is yes. I mean, I couldn't imagine doing it myself right now in this situation here in my cozy living room, but being there, being, you know, cold, and that is the only source of nutrition, I guess I would do it as well, you know. So in that sense, I do condone doing it in these really drastic circumstances that they found themselves in. Yeah, but that's enough about the real life story, so that's what it is about. But this is really an incredible film. I mean, it could have easily been a documentary or something, but it is a dramatic retelling of it. We've got a huge ensemble cast. I'm not even going to single out one single person because I think they all do a great job, particularly young people, because it was a young team. And from my understanding, these are all rather young, up-and-coming Uruguayan and Argentinian actors. They all do a great job, so you really feel... I have never felt so cold watching a film, so the portrayal is amazing. And especially when it comes to these dramatic moments where they're also discussing the morality of it, the ethics of it, eating people and all these kind of things, you just feel so much for it and for them all. And then sometimes there's avalanches that happen, they get covered in snow, and you know, you feel claustrophobic with them just trying to somehow get to the surface and all these things. There's so much, there's really acting wise, drama wise, there's so much in this film. I mean, it's all based on a book written by a person who actually knew a lot of the people that were in this real crash. And so it's all the retellings of those people, you know, about the events that happened there. And it just when you keep reminding yourself of that, it's just, you're sitting there going, wow. I mean, ultimately, I feel that even though of course it's a disaster thing, I do, at least for myself, feel that it is ultimately an uplifting story, because it is just incredible what, you know, the human body and mind and everything can just go through, you know, what an indomitable spirit we sometimes have. It's just really crazy thinking that these people went through this and survived these really harsh conditions, these unforgiving conditions. It's crazy. Where usually you'd think that within a week or so they would all perish, and to think that they did it for 2 months, it's really quite incredible. Yeah, so that is one thing I really like about this, the great telling of this dramatic event, how it's done, how it's portrayed, and just the way the whole thing looks. And that's what's really incredible here as well. We've got these harsh, brutal conditions, yet they look so beautiful, especially how they're captured in this film. You've got all these snowy landscapes, but even when we've got the close-ups, it's shot so wonderfully. The colours are amazing. And you know, you're sitting there going, wow, it looks great, but we're actually supposed to be sad here or disgusted, you know, whatever, eating the human flesh or feeling for these people, etc. So watching this film, you go through a lot of emotions. Like I say, visually, as in how it was made, fantastic, beautiful. They shot in various locations. I saw that they even shot parts of it in the actual location. Not quite sure what of it they shot, but yeah, I mean, it comes across so well. You can easily feel for these people who were in this really crazy situation, and just marvel at how they were able to get out of it ultimately. Really, I mean, it's astonishing. So if you can stomach it, sorry, if you can stomach it, I would highly recommend watching this film. I would recommend watching it as it was shot. So it is shot in Spanish, so with subtitles. That's how I saw it, because then you could obviously experience the original performance of the actors, which, like I say, is just really great. So I would recommend watching a lot, especially if you've got Netflix. You know, this is one of the few circumstances where we've got a really great Netflix film that is getting worldwide attention and renown. Like I say, it's even an Oscar-nominated film. So, you know, if you're the kind of person who's like, oh, you know, that makes me interested immediately, this is that, okay? So yeah, high recommendation from me if you can put up with the story. And if you've never heard of it, well, you're in for quite a ride. I knew this story beforehand, even although it happened before I was born. Yeah, so it's definitely just thinking about it all, and this film really brings that to the foreground, and you're like, oh my God, what would I do in that situation? You know, it really yeah, I like these experiences because it really makes you question yourself and your own abilities and what your actions would be and these kind of things. So, and I'm just glad that at least some people were able to get through this. Yeah. Okay, that'll be all from me today. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe. It is the best way to support this channel. Leave a comment down below about this film. Did you know about the real life tragic events? Is there anything you want to share about them? You know, anything that you feel is important to note here, enhances the film more or puts into some context, whatever. Anything you want to see about it, put it down in the comments below. I'll thank you for watching this video and I'll see you in the next one on Flying Wiener. Take care, bye.